Hello. Have you ever wondered about the power of words? When I talk with corporate people, there are often two words that build invisible walls between us: growth and profit. When I say I co-founded the Matcha Initiative, a not-for-profit helping individuals in their corporate life to accelerate the sustainability transformation, I usually got two remarks. If it's not for profit, there is limited impact. If it's for free, there is no quality. But think about the World Wide Web, the web as we call it. Hasn't it shaped our worlds in amazing ways? It was freely released in the public domain in 1993. Think about Wikipedia. Don't we tend to overvalue short-term gains over long-term benefits, taking versus giving? Last month, first, I need to explain some concepts. In the first chapters of this book, The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity, Draber and Wangrow give examples of Western kids raised by Indian communities who were rescued and sent back to the Western world, and who, as soon as they could, went back to the hardship of the forest. Why would they do that? Draber and Wangrow's point was that the First Nation did not possess the material goods and material comfort we French had at that time, but they value and associated wealth and happiness with different concepts: harmony in the tribe and mutual help between themselves. Last month, we launched AlterCOP, an alternative two-week conference for COP to talk and discuss climate change and climate topics. We wanted to amplify the discussions. We need everybody on board for sustainability, yet we cannot fly the whole of humanity to COP. So we decided to bring COP discussion home. And why did we call it AlterCOP? COP and diplomacy are utmost important for countries to find common ground to accelerate decarbonization and shift away from fossil fuels. COPs are for negotiations among countries. So we designed AlterCOP differently, not as a conference of the parties, but as a cooperation of the parties. For you and me, we, the parties, to be part of the solution with a simple question: how can we act within our own sphere of influence? And to act, you have first to understand the problems. So we created 130 plus sessions with 250 speakers in expert talks, master classes, panels from different players in the same industry of different stakeholders: corporate, government agencies, civil society, academia, scientists, and youth, for them to exchange their best practices, their insight, as well as their challenges, for everybody to understand the constraints of each other and be able to take tangible action. Amazingly, during the 10 days, over 10 different sustainability topics, we heard the same 5 needs: raise awareness, unsilo, collaboration, measure, and finance. The 3 first points resonated with the way we designed AlterCOP as a collective initiative with 50 plus volunteers working on it for awareness and with a transdisciplinary approach. Add, measure, and finance. And what we heard, in fact, is a call for alter capitalism, and capitalism with an alternative growth and alternative profit, for the value of our companies to reflect the real impact, for companies to be organized differently, working collectively and transdisciplinary to embed sustainability in everybody's decision, and for overconsumption and hypercapitalism to be word of the past. Let's have a closer look at those 5 points. Raise awareness. Many around us do not yet grasp the magnitude of climate change. That in Singapore, by the end of the century, whatever scenario we look at, we will only have warm nights, meaning no time for our bodies to cool down. That the dreadful wet bulb effect or heat stress, this combination of humidity and heat in tropical areas, will reach up to 54 days a year in the medium scenario. And let's face it, the medium scenario is the best case scenario today. And up to 326 days a year, meaning literally we won't be able to go outside. That sea level rise and flooding jeopardize 30% of Singapore. Knowing is different from true understanding leading to action. For some, the true understanding needs emotional, almost physical trigger. To talk about it's getting hotter and hotter in Singapore those years, or the flash flow we experienced recently in Singapore, maybe the trigger. For others, it's the mere realization that our investments, our homes, our businesses will prove worthless in a couple of years, or we could not pass them to our children. And when we deep dive in sustainability understanding, there are a lot of expertise yet to be built. We are under-educated. Oh, that was the flow. This book was published in 1995 when I was a student at that time. The tragedy of the horizon, the tragedy of the common, life cycle analysis, obsolescence, they are all in. The concepts we are learning or promoting today are in fact not new. We are still learning at a too slow path in silos. We learn marketing separated from finance, from procurement, from human sciences, from engineering, when in fact we need a transdisciplinary approach to redesign and rethink our system and protocols. This brings me to my second point, unsilo. Different departments in a company should work together. That sounds banal, isn't it? Yet at AlterCOP, we heard procurement teams begging marketing teams and design teams to rethink products, for them to be easily repairable, prepared for reverse logistic, or low carbon intensive to transport. Sounds like industrial ecology. The third point, collective action, is also straightforward. No company can achieve net zero or positive impact alone. We need all to collaborate, academia, corporate. Yet we face two obstacles. We still compete. We want to be number one. We want the most followers on the internet. We tell our kids that being best in class will help them succeed in life, when in fact we should be thinking collective. We have an ownership gap. Most of us still blame someone else. Our CEOs not knowing, understanding, wanted to act. Our governments not putting the good regulation in place. Our clients or customers not wanting to pay a higher price. In this respect, success stories heard at AlterCOP about MNCs bringing alliances with their suppliers to design circular ecosystem, training their suppliers on sustainability, or partnering with them to design a service totally out of their business scope to make their clients more sustainable gives me hope. The fourth point is measure. In the last study of SBF, 41% of companies in Singapore declare not knowing where and how to start on sustainability. If you don't know where to start, that means you haven't started to measure your carbon footprint. And for the more advanced companies, measuring means a lot of tools and metrics to be put in place to measure all external negativities, not only carbon. The last point is finance. This year was a finance COP. The developed countries promised $300 billion a year to developing countries to help them mitigate and adapt, when in fact, those countries need 1.3 trillion a year. At AlterCOP, we discussed the fact that private sector and private investment needs to step in. But how can private sector really care about common goods? Let's remember the beginning of the conversation and the book. And let's remind ourselves that profit is a line in an accounting book. It's a gain minus a cost. Accounting is a set of rules we gave ourselves to be able to do transactions between the many of us. What we have measured have to be reflected in our P&L to give the real profitability of our companies and the real cost of our goods. CFOs, finance departments, strategic departments have a huge responsibility to report accurate KPIs as well as accurate profitability to their C-suite and boards, for the CEOs and the C-suite to do what they do the best, drive the companies into the right direction. Axilia, a French financial consulting company, states that 18 out of 40 of our French companies composing our CAC 40, the French Stock Exchange Index, are not able to pay their carbon bill if we price carbon at 142 euros a ton as recommended by IPCC. That means they are literally not profitable. We can wait. We can wait for others to do it, for our CEOs to change their mind, and for a top-bottom attitude, for our governments to implement the good regulations. Or we could alteract, each of us, within our own sphere of influence, raise awareness, talk with our clients, our customers, our colleagues about climate change, and silo and collaborate. Put procurement and marketing team in the same room and ask them to redesign a process. Invite a scientist, a sustainability team from a very different company to share their insights and best practices. Measure and put the real value of our companies into our P&L. We all have talents, all of us. We all have a certain autonomy in our work to use those talents towards sustainability. We all can alteract now. And I wish, truly, each and every one of you to experience the joy and the positive energy we receive when we do alteract. Thank you.